wasn't I your chosen one?
You have all day, Johnny Cage.
Yeah, I do.
Author's Note. This is a special review of Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge, with special thanks to Ghostoftime1, based on Mortal Kombat by Ed Boon and John Tobias, directed by Ethan Spalding, published by Warner Bros. Animation and Studio Mir Animation. Starring the voices of Patrick Seitz, Steve Bloom, Jordan Rodriguez, Darren DePaul, Joel McHale, Jennifer Carpenter, Art Butler, Robin Atkin-Downs, Dave B. Mitchell, Ike Amati, Gray Griffin, Fred Tatasciore, and Kevin Michael Richardson as Goro. Rated R. Please note, some footage may not be suitable for anyone under 17. Viewers' discretion is advised.
Hanzo is dead. Call me Scorpion.
Raiden chooses champions poorly.
This from the man who chose Melina?
Do not mock my daughter.
What's your beef, Frosty?
Just Frost, idiot.
Don't be such a snowflake.
You just couldn't resist Mortal Kombat despite its flaws, could you, Ghost?
Ugh. It pains me to say it, but the storytelling in this series has taken a serious nosedive. From Sindel's stupid evil all-along retcon in Mortal Kombat 11, to the severe story inaccuracies in today's topic of discussion, Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge. And with apologies to my fellow Mortal Kombat fans, I was not impressed with this film.
So folks, this is supposed to be a retelling of the first Mortal Kombat, except with more emphasis on Hanzo Hasashi, aka Scorpion, and Ghost will explain his problems with the movie itself.
Die for this. You first.
Before I go into my complaints, I will give credit where credit is due. I do like most of the voices in this movie. Patrick Seitz' performance as our favorite Hellspawn Spectre is as amazing as ever. The only one I wasn't as fond of was Liu Kang, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Furthermore, I also appreciate how each character uses modified versions of their MKX designs, or in Shang Tsung's case, MK9.
Yeah, fun fact, I've actually met a few of the voice actors for this movie. Kevin Michael Richardson, Steve Bloom, Fred Tatasciore, and Gray Griffin. They're masters in this kind of talent, and I can understand why.
Hey, do you know if any of this stuff is organic? Just asking, jeez.
A real damn shame for Steve Bloom and Kevin Michael Richardson, the latter of which actually reprises his role as Goro from the 1995 film. Neither of them get a chance to showcase their true talents in Scorpion's Revenge. Their respective characters barely show up at all.
Wow, no kidding. I actually wish that we saw more of Sub-Zero, Goro, and even Princess Katana. In fact, another problem that I think you might have is that Reptile and Baraka were introduced into the movie, only to be killed off by Sonya and Johnny Cage.
We should get out of here.
Then again, one could argue that those two were a generic Zaterran and Tarkatan, which I highly doubt. One could also allow the possibility of Baraka surviving, which I also doubt. With that in mind, you are correct, which automatically wastes any potential to expand on their characters.
And you actually said that the film had some horrible pacing and you would prefer it if it were an animated series. Actually, that's reasonable if it can flesh out the characters more than cramming them into a 70-minute movie. Not to mention bite-sized episodes would be perfect.
I'm just saying, he really killed the vibe around here. I was just...
See, I couldn't have said that better myself. From the very start of the movie, the action escalates extremely quickly. The viewer has very little time to process everything that's happening. The few times where things actually do slow down are actually not too bad. And I will admit that there were a few moments and one-liners that genuinely made me chuckle.
What I liked about this film were two things. One was expanding on Scorpion's own story even compared to the Mortal Kombat movie, and the other was good old Johnny Cage showing off like he thinks he's the main star of the movie and chewing the scenery. Upstager.
As much as I hate to disagree, I unfortunately do. At least on Scorpion's case. Much of his story is largely everything that longtime fans such as myself already knew. and there were many events that were either switched around or altered from the original story completely. And that's my biggest gripe with this film. Barely anything is consistent with the original timeline on which this whole movie is based. As much of a Scorpion fan as I am, they did not need to make Liu Kang look so weak to make way for the Spectre. If nothing else, this whole film feels like a hastily written fan fiction.
This makes my original rant about Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice look weak in comparison.
This thing better not go straight to video.
Sure, I may have enjoyed this film, but I can understand why you didn't like Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge, due to your problems with the whole story, pacing, and mishandling of certain characters.
I'm sorry, Daimando, but this movie is way too all over the place for me to recommend in good conscience. Viewers, do yourself a favor and just stick with the 1995 film until the new live-action film comes out. Maybe the new movie can salvage what little hope I have left for the franchise.
Do not expect mercy.
I expect incompetence.
You will burn, Bihon.
You may have the privilege of serving me. Did I say something funny?
Okay. One last thing before I sign out. For anyone who stuck it out with Mortal Kombat 11, there is a movie-based skin pack available, featuring Christopher Lambert as Raiden, Bridget Wilson as Sonya Blade, and Lyndon Ashby as Johnny Cage. Daimando's only disappointment, as well as my own, is a lack of Robin Shu as Liu Kang and Talisa Soto as Kitana. But only time will tell if he lucks out and gets something like that. Anyway, I'm going to switch on out of this impromptu Switch Watch. I need to get the taste of that other movie out of my mouth.